for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. When it comes crashing down, it hurts inside.
Welcome back, all you Hulkamaniacs. MG, the BOD, episode 10. Happy Memorial Day.
I'm a little disappointed you didn't rip that nice shirt.
Well, it's a nice shirt. Next time, maybe. Next time we'll bring it back.
Happy Memorial Day.
Yes.
Let's get this out of the way because they are the most important people of our fan base.
Agreed.
Men and women who serve our country and provide us the opportunity to sit here and do this for fun and for living or whatever. We thank you to serve our country. Thank you very much.
Yes, we are very, very grateful to have you with us. Always remember, we want you to visit www.coffeetalkradio.com/football. Also, MG and the BOD is brought to you by DynastySportsEmpire.com Fantasy Sports. Whether it's NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, or Major League Baseball, DynastySportsEmpire.com has you covered. Visit them online today at DynastySportsEmpire.com or on Twitter at DSE_football to join a startup Dynasty Fantasy League for the cheap price of $50 American.
Cheap price.
Yes, very, very cheap. We love them there. Use them. Check out their website.
We do love our sponsors, Mr. Larry Marino on Dynasty Sports Empire. We do thank you for sponsoring us, building the website for us.
Yep,
also, CoffeeTalkRadio.com. We love them there. That's our home. Just go visit us. Kevin Barbro's the best. Just go visit us.
Today's show, we're going to go over DEFLATE-GATE for the last time.
Again?
Hopefully, yeah, we have to, just to finish it all up. Then we're going to give you our top 5 fantasy picks at each position with a bonus sleeper at each position.
I love sleepers.
I love sleeping in general.
Joe,
You need to do more of it.
listen to me.
Go ahead.
I am not one to toot my own horn.
I will.
Toot it.
Toot!
Toot it.
My man MG, this is what we told you. I got the draft right, and then Matt just comes along, and he's the Roger Goodell of the show. Look what he does. He pinpointed the exact punishment for the Patriots.
The exact punishment.
I want to give you another toot right
Toot
now.
it.
Toot!
$1 million. Draft pick, 4-game suspension. You heard it here first on our last episode. I'm not right often, Joe.
No, just enjoy it while it lasts.
I'm going to enjoy this.
You should.
Very, very small glimmer of hope.
You should. I'm glad that it's almost over. I love that Goodell is taking the lead on this so that he doesn't show any favoritism. I hope the suspension stands at 4 games. It'll be reduced, most likely.
Do you think the suspension as a whole, do you think the penalty fits the crime?
I think the $1 million was cheap. I think it was the cheap way out.
Agreed. I guess I agree.
I mean, what's $1 million to these guys?
Nothing.
It's a joke.
Nothing.
It's a joke. So that's why I didn't like it too much. I thought it should have been more fierce because this is their second penalty.
Yeah, they are repeat offenders, and I think
that's terrible.
I don't know how everybody feels about Roger Goodell appointing himself as the arbitrator in this. I don't know if it's good or bad for the Patriots or the NFL. I don't understand why he would appoint himself, but the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, these guys negotiated this when we had the strike a couple of years ago, and they probably never thought it would ever happen,
Well, it did.
Well, it did.
Well, it did.
They signed off on Goodell being the judge and the jury, so you know what? You make your bed, you got to sleep in it.
Yeah.
So,
let's get into some fantasy situations we have going on right now. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to go to the top 5 at each position and a bonus sleeper. We're going to start off with the most important position on the field, quarterback.
absolutely.
Why don't you start things off?
All right, I'll start off. I think 1 and 2 here. Everybody in the world is going to have these guys 1 and 2. It's no surprise. It's either Luck or Rodgers. Whether you put him 1 or 2, me personally, I have Rodgers 1. Simple fact that he doesn't turn the ball over. So I think he's the best fantasy player to have out of everybody. But I have Luck and Rodgers 1 and 2. 3, I think I'm going to surprise you a little bit.
Go ahead.
Mr. Big Ben.
Okay.
Big Ben Roethlisberger. All the guy does is produce in fantasy. I mean, now with Le'Veon Bell coming out of the backfield, I understand he's suspended, but he's still a weapon there. Antonio Brown, all he does is catch touchdowns and catch 8 balls a game. That's all he does. They became a throwing team.
Yeah, they're no longer a bruising ground and pound team.
What our parents grew up with of the smash mouth steal of football, it's not really that anymore.
I agree.
And Big Ben can throw the ball.
Yes, he can.
So fantasy wise, I have him number 3. Number 4, I gotta go Peyton. I know he's a little bit on the downside. Last year, at the end of the year, he kind of cost some people fantasy championships maybe with his lackluster play, but I still think he's an elite quarterback. Definitely elite enough to be in the top 5. My 5th, I'm gonna go Tony Romo.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I hate him. You know I hate it. Well, listen, I hate the Cowboys, so for me to put a Cowboy in this top 5, you know it's hard for me.
Yeah, well, it's also saying something because he does produce.
He
in terms of
produces fantasy.
Right, and
Okay?
he's going to be very protected
He might
with that offensive line.
He might not get sacked the whole year.
Yeah, well, it's the best line in football. My top 5 is very similar to Matt's. I'm starting off with Aaron Rodgers. The guy is simply the best player on the planet. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's a lock for at least 4,300 passing yards, 35 plus touchdowns, and he'll remain in single digits interceptions.
It's amazing.
Maybe he'll rush for 2 or 3 touchdowns as well. Luck, the kid is the next coming of Christ in the NFL. He's going to be the highest paid man in football very, very shortly. So he's number 2. Peyton Manning, because of what he does during the regular season. It's unbelievable how steady he is. That's why he's there at 3 for me. Number 4, I'm sticking with him. It's a pass-happy league. He's in a pass-happy offense. I'm giving Matt Ryan the nod at 4.
You love Matt Ryan.
I do. I think
I like
that's
Matt Ryan too.
Explosive offense. They play in the dome, which I like for some speed guys that they have. So that's why I'm going Matt Ryan. He's on the cusp of potentially being a 5,000-yard passer. That's how close he is. 5, although I would never pick him. I understand why others do in terms of fantasy. Cam Newton. They are surrounding him with weapons. Devin Funches in the second round this year. They have Kelvin, Greg Olsen. They're putting a nice little core of receiving options around him finally.
Yes.
So, not to mention his athletic ability with the option that they run. Maybe he gets in 6 or 7 touchdowns rushing.
He might rush you for 5, 6, 7.
If he lowers the interceptions, you could see him in the top 5. Who's your sleeper?
My sleeper. Okay, now again, all these positions we're going to give you guys probably a deep sleeper. Somebody who you're going to draft maybe as a backup and he will turn into a star on your roster. To me, I'm going to go with Teddy Bridgewater. Mm-hmm. I think he's maybe in the back end of people's drafts. You know, you draft him as a backup quarterback. I don't think he would start on your team right away. But this kid, and I'll be the first to admit when I was wrong, I didn't like him coming out of Louisville. He really showed me something last year. He progressively got better as the season went on. He took his lumps, but listen, it's well expected as a rookie. But I think he actually grew as a passer. And now Minnesota's new home, you know, he's going to be playing on turf indoors. You never know. This guy could be something special.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very good pick. A sleeper for sure.
My picks are always good, Joe.
That's debatable. We'll let the fans decide that. My sleeper is Ryan Tannehill. Newly paid $94 million man who has progressively gotten better the last 3 years. Now they surround him with weapons. Jarvis Landry, Kenny Stills, Devontae Parker, Jordan Cameron. There's no reason, if he continues to grow, that he cannot be a 4,000-yard passer.
I love the pick, Joe.
Remember, the head coach is Joe Philbin. Came from the Packers. This is a pass-happy league. This kid is looking to take the next step, and he could potentially be a bye-week filler, injury filler, and maybe even if you want to play the matchup game in your fantasy playoffs. So I like Ryan Tannehill as my sleeper.
I love it. I love it.
I'm going to start off on wide receivers now. I don't even think it's close at 1. I think it's Antonio Brown. The guy's a PPR gem.
You'd be surprised at people who don't think he's 1.
That's why I don't listen to those people.
You people are dumb.
Yeah, they just, it's not intelligent not to pick him. The guy catches 5-6 balls a game. It's incredible. You're looking for consistency.
It's unbelievable.
That's what you want. 2, Demaryius Thomas. He's got Peyton Manning throwing the ball. He's an anomaly as far as his size and speed is concerned. Very rare do you see a kid who's 6'4", 6'5", catch a bubble screen, go for 60, 70 yards.
It's amazing because when we watch the games together, it's like the bubble screen. I hate the bubble screen because it never works.
Right.
But it always works.
He makes it
always
work.
works on Denver.
It makes me sick. Des Bryant is 3. I probably would have put him up higher if he wasn't such a baby. He's got to grow up. I'd love to see more consistency at him because although he may catch 2 balls in a game for 2 touchdowns, you kind of want to see 6, 7, 8 catches a game, 90 to 120 yards, and maybe a touchdown. I would prefer the consistency, but I understand why people put him there. That's why I'm putting him there. 4 is my guy, Jordy Nelson. This guy is just an all-pros pro. Game in, game out. He does what he has to do to get open, and he produces numbers. 5, Julio Jones. Stretching the field. He goes over the middle. If he could stay healthy for 16 games, he will be a first-team All-Pro. What do you think?
I'm up.
Yeah, you're up.
I like your 5. Well, let's be honest here. it is very, very. This position in particular is very difficult to narrow down to 5 people.
Agreed.
Because there's like, I love Jordy Nelson, but he's not on my list. I love the guy. All he does is produce. I love Julio Jones. He's not on my list. It's hard to narrow it down to 5. Number 1, I do agree with you. You know I'm an Antonio guy.
Yes, I do.
Mr. Antonio, I love you. You were on my fantasy team last year, and all you do is give me 10 to 12 points guaranteed with your catching ability. If you're in a PPR league, which I don't know what other league you would be in besides that, but he is the best fantasy wide receiver to get.
I agree.
Guaranteed catches. Number 2, I have Des Bryant. I do agree with you. He is a little bit of a baby, but I think he matured from what he was. You know, he still has his on-the-field antics, but that's just Des. That comes with the territory. To me, he's a dominant, almost unguardable force on the field. I have Des Bryant, number 2. Number 3, I have Demaryius, for all the reasons that you said, Joe. Guy's fantastic. Peyton loves him. Bubble screen, love it. 4, it's going to surprise you.
What do you got here?
You know me, and you know I don't like to quickly anoint people.
Curious to see what you're doing here.
Okay? I'm going to go Odell Beckham here. I know.
You were doing so well.
I know. But I have to put him here.
Why?
Because
Why?
he's a freak of nature.
Oh my goodness.
He's a freak of nature, and the offense that he's in with Eli Manning, hopefully Victor Cruz comes back. I just think he's. It's hard for him not to succeed in that offense.
Right, but my thought process. Listen, he's a great wide receiver. He's going to be good, but you can't take him what he did. You can't take him for what he did last year because every team in the NFL now has tape on him. You're talking about bracket coverage, cover 3 shading to his side. I don't. Maybe he has the same numbers in 16 games because last year he did it in 12, which is still a great fantasy
Still a great year, Joe.
Still a great year, but I think the potential to be not to have such a great year this year is greater than to actually increase from his numbers last year.
Well, first of all, it's going to be hard to increase from what he did in 12 games last year.
Well, year 1 to year 2 is supposed to be your big jump.
Okay, you know what, Joe? I'm going to keep him at 4, and
Good.
we'll discuss after the season how wrong you were.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5 is basically everybody's number 1 last year. I have to put Calvin here at number 5.
Okay.
I'm not ready to give up on him. Meaning that I'm not ready to put him in the second tier yet. I think he's still that elite wide receiver, and I think he had a down year, Calvin down year last year, which is good year for anybody else.
Right.
But I think in that offense with Stafford there, I just like the Lions. I do. I like the Lions, and I think Calvin Johnson is gonna definitely be back in the top 5, maybe even the top 3.
Well, they throw the ball more than any team in the NFL. Joe Lombardi, the offensive coordinator there. Calvin is Calvin. You show him the respect he deserves. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer when it's going to be all said and done. I don't like him at 5, top 10, absolutely, but you got to give the man his
I'm not ready to put him. I understand what you're saying. I'm just not ready. Last year he was 1 on everybody's
Yeah,
board.
you're right. You're right. He went very, very early. My sleeper, first round pick in the NFL draft. I'm giving my sleeper pick to Nelson Aguilar, the Philadelphia Eagles. I truly feel, and we've spoken about off camera before, Chip Kelly could put anybody in his offense and think that he could succeed.
Put you there?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding me? I dominate. Okay? He took an offensive guy when he didn't really need to. So that makes you feel that this kid is custom made for that offense, which is a scary thought considering they already had Jordan Matthews from last year. So what is he going to do with this kid?
Your same thought process, I think, is right on. You know, a team that needs help defensively. When we did our mock, I think we mocked a defensive player there.
Yep,
so for Chip Kelly to take this wide receiver Aguilar, I think you're right. I think he is tailor-made for his system.
Yeah.
And I think he will succeed.
Chip Kelly wants to win games 38-35, 41-38.
Yeah. Well,
he doesn't care.
He has to now because his defense
is not good.
My sleeper is another fellow rookie wide receiver. Is Devin Funchess. You mentioned him earlier when you were talking about Cam Newton. I think this guy, I don't think it's out of the realm 6, 7, 8 touchdowns in the red zone.
Red zone target.
I mean, he's a big boy. And him and Calvin Benjamin on the opposite side, listen, that only helps each other. You can't double one now.
Right.
You know, now that last year they had nobody. They had Benjamin, and they were doubling Benjamin, and he still succeeded. Partly because he's like 9 feet tall.
Right, always helps.
Yeah, always helps when Cam Newton's throwing the ball 15 feet over his head.
Right.
But listen, Funchess is another big body. I think he is a wide receiver 3 probably wide receiver 3, maybe low end wide receiver 2, but that might be pushing it a little.
But a flex for sure.
Definite flex, Devin Funchess.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You can't guard everyone, and you can't teach height. And that's all they have on Carolina between Benjamin Funchess and Greg Olsen, who, down the seam will also open up things for Funchess. Let's move on to running back. Matt, start us off.
You want me to start?
I do.
Okay, I will start it off, Joe. Number 1, I don't care if you're suspended for 2 games or suspended for 7. I don't care. Le'Veon Bell is number 1.
Okay.
I don't care if he's missing 3 games. He is a PPR gem. Plus, he's one hell of a friggin' running back. Mm-hmm. Okay? Le'Veon Bell, number 1, absolutely. Number 2, you might disagree with me on this one, and not being a homer. I got to go LaShawn McCoy here. Joe, they were going to run the ball until this guy's legs fall off. Mm-hmm. Okay? You disagree?
I do.
Okay, be quiet. Thank you.
I do.
LaShawn McCoy, we made a bet that he's going to rush for 1,500 yards, and I'm going to win that bet.
Fans, let us know what you really think. It's 1,500 rushing yards. Matt think it's going to be over. I think it's going to be under. Just let us know, because I don't know. No quarterback there. You're going to put 8, 9 guys in the box.
Joe.
I say, here, beat me in the air. What are you going to do?
LaShawn McCoy will beat them.
Okay. If he makes it through 16 games and they run him for 500 times a year.
I don't care, as long as it wins my bet this year.
There you go. That's selfish.
Hashtag selfish.
Hashtag selfish. Big time.
All right, number 3, Jamal Charles. I'm not a big Charles fan. I know Joey's a big Charles.
Guy.
Joey's a big Charles fan, but you can't deny what this guy does. He just produces an Andy Reid's offense. Mm-hmm. Number 4, I'm going to go Eddie Lacy. Fat Eddie. He's fat.
He's not fat. It's a rib protector.
No, he's
we went
fat.
over this. Yes, we did. We broke
Fat
it.
Eddie Lacy.
He's not. It's a rib protector.
It's a very large rib protector.
Okay, well, he's a big guy.
Well, he is. I love to watch this guy run. Like, there's very few running backs. I'm waiting for him to run the ball because I love to watch him run. He's such a bull, man. And he's actually surprisingly, because obviously you're a Packers fan, surprisingly he catches the ball.
Yeah.
I remember when he got drafted, you're like, I don't think he's going to catch that many balls. Listen, he catches a lot of balls.
He has 35 as a rookie. I believe over 40 last year, all 40. He's just reliable.
Much more than I ever thought he would catch.
One of the rare 3-down backs in this league.
Absolutely. Round off my number 5. I'm going to go another guy which I'm not ready to put into the second tier. I'm going to go Matt Forte. I know, again, PPR. I keep mentioning PPR. This guy catches as many balls as your wide receiver 1. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when you can get him, same thing with Le'Veon Bell. When you can get a guy that's going to catch 55 to 70 balls, he automatically leaps above everybody else in rushing ability because he has to be drafted because it's like having another wide receiver.
That's a good pick, I think, there.
Joe, again, all my picks are good.
Again, we'll leave that up for debate. My running backs goes as follows. I'm putting Eddie Lacy at 1. He doesn't come off the field. When you have the best quarterback in the league standing next to you, it only opens up running lanes. They want to guard guys on the outside. Well, guess what? That means 5 or 6 guys are in the box. Eddie Lacy runs for 6-7 yards a clip. Plus, he catches the ball, as Matt referred to earlier. So Eddie Lacy, you're talking about 12 to 15 touchdowns, which is great for a running back. That's why I like him there. 2, giving it to beast mode, Marshawn Lynch, the guy year in, year out. He's a lock for 1,200, 1,300 yards.
Every year does it.
Double-digit touchdowns. He's just reliable. And he doesn't fumble the ball. 3 is my guy. Been a fan with him since he's been at Texas. Jamal Charles of the Kansas City Chiefs. He catches it. He runs it. He's just a great fit there. 4, I'm putting Adrian Peterson. He's fresh.
Wow.
I think he's fresh. I think that he's looking to redeem himself and set a name for himself again.
He doesn't even want to be there.
That's a good segue. I still think he's going to get traded. I'm not so convinced that this isn't I think I'm tougher than you match with the Vikings. I think that when it's all said and done, he will be reporting to another team's training camp.
We know what team that is.
The Cowboys.
Because and I agree with you. I didn't agree with you a couple months ago when we talked about it, but the more it's prolonging, I think Jerry Jones is going to pull the trigger, and I think he's going to give up that pick.
Listen, I agree
that he doesn't want to give
because
up.
if the end result is winning a Super Bowl, you do it.
Yeah.
If you feel you're one player away, you do it.
Yeah.
That's why I like Adrian Peterson. 5 is Matt's number 1. I'm putting Le'Veon Bell because the suspension does bother me. Fantasy football is such a short season. You need to win as early and often as possible.
You need to finish, Joe.
But if you start off 0-2, you're behind the 8 ball.
You need to finish.
I love Le'Veon Bell. I'm not knocking the guy. He has a lot of thread on his tires. They're really running this kid into the ground.
They really, I
From
agree.
Michigan State to
I know.
Pittsburgh, it's only a matter of time. And now you have to question his decision making. Why you smoke a pot?
Well, because he likes it. It's an extracurricular activity.
It builds muscle. That's his excuse.
It's an extracurricular activity.
Well, that's why he's 5.
And it's only illegal in 48 states.
Right. Well, that's why he's 5 on my book. Say no to drugs, kids. Matt, why don't you give us your sleeper?
Oh man, you are going to rip this thing apart.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
You are going to hate this sleeper. I don't even like this guy. But again, my sleeper. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Reggie Bush.
Folks, we're looking for replacements for Matt Gabbola right now. Okay, send your resumes in. What are you doing?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really care what you say right now.
What are you doing?
I understand Carlos Hyde is the guy that he's the bell cow. I get it.
Okay.
But again, the assignment is to give them a sleeper. So I can't give you Carlos Hyde because he's not a sleeper, right?
Okay.
Reggie Bush is gonna get in. He's gonna get in that offense. Okay. He's gonna get his touches. May even return kicks, punts, kicks, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Reggie Bush, to me, is going to be a fill-in to a solid flex player. He might be a bye-week fill-in who becomes a flex player for people on their fantasy roster. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you think. The guy has tread left on his tires, and San Francisco is going to utilize it.
Well, best wishes with that pick.
Well, you know what, Joe? It's a sleeper.
I always root for you. I hope he ends up on your team and does great, because it's not going to happen. My sleeper is Melvin Gordon.
Oh.
The reason I feel he's a sleeper...
He's not a sleeper.
Yes, he is a sleeper. He hasn't done anything in the NFL. He's not going...
He's a number one pick,
He's
Joe.
a flex guy.
He's not a
What do you mean
sleeper.
number one pick?
He's a first-round pick.
So what does that mean?
He's not a sleeper.
Sure he is.
Joe.
He's done nothing to do anything in the
Joe,
NFL.
he's going to be drafted in fantasy in probably 5th, 6th round.
And
That's
I
not a
say the
sleeper.
7th or the 8th round.
That's
depending on
not
how
a sleeper.
draft.
You know what? You wait till the 7th and the
Okay.
8th, and I'll take him in the 5th and the 6th.
The reason Melvin Gordon is going to be a flex play for you and a bye-week filler for you and a matchup game guy for you is because of what San Diego has done with their offensive line. They acquired Orlando Franklin in the offseason. They just picked up Joe Barksdale from the Rams, DJ Fluker, who was a first-round pick, King Dunlap, and Chris Watts. The line is built to ground and pound. You protect Phillip Rivers. They get Keenan Allen going, Melvin Gordon. Who knows how long it's going to take before he picks up an offense. Also, his catching ability is at question, which, again, that's why he's not the best. That's why he's a sleeper. You don't know what he's going to do.
Pick Reggie Bush, guys.
Okay, fans, let us know who you would want out of those two guys.
No, that's not the question.
What's the question?
The question is a sleeper.
A sleeper, yeah.
There's nobody.
How could you take?
He walks in the San Diego locker room. There's no other running back to compete with him. He is the guy.
Okay, there are 3 other veterans there.
They're not.
But my point is, he's a sleeper because if you take him in the, like Matt said, in the 4th, 5th round, it's a questionable pick because
he's an RB2.
You don't know what I think he's a flex play right now. Flex play with RB2 upside. Absolutely, I'll say that.
Okay.
That's why
Agree to disagree, Joe.
Fair enough.
I loathe you.
Oh, well, fair enough. I adore you. If it's any consolation.
It's not really.
I'm not going to play the hate card on Memorial Day.
You know what? We love you, America.
Yeah, we do.
And I do love you, Joe.
I appreciate it.
Let's
Let's move
go.
on to tight ends. Tight ends, Jimmy Graham might catch 250 balls this year.
251.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There's nobody in Seattle. Russell Wilson bootlegs all day long. Jimmy Graham is a mismatched nightmare.
100%.
All right? It's going to be scary what he does, really. 2, for me, is Rob Gronkowski. Love his party antics. He's a good guy. He's producing year in and year out. If he stays healthy, the guy is 1B, if not 1A to Jimmy Graham.
They're interchangeable.
Yeah. 3 is Greg Olsen. Again, constant production. The guy is steady. He's always going to catch balls. He's always going to get touchdowns. He's reliable. 4, Martellus Bennett. Jay Cutler needs somebody underneath. You don't know what you're going to get out of Kevin White right away. You still have Alshon Jeffrey, so I like Bennett there. I think he's a 70 to 80 catch ball guy. I think he's 8 to 10 touchdowns, and I think that is tight end 1 production for you this year.
He's surprisingly reliable every year.
5, I'm going to go your guy. I know Matt really likes this guy, Travis Kelce. This kid has another guy who has grown every single year he's been in the NFL. You want consistency and reliability? Kelce's your guy. He will not give you a bad game.
He's just always there 100%.
Always there. Not to mention, I know that they have Macklin there now. That could help him out a little bit.
Macklin's not even going to be on the field.
Well, if he's not, then you have a number 1 wide receiver in the tight end. So it's a win-win. Go ahead.
That was your 5?
Those are my 5.
All right, well, I'll go quickly here. 1 and 2, it's Jimmy or Gronk. Jimmy Graham or Gronkowski, however which way you want to put them. And even 3, I think the top 3 are the same on everybody's board. You got to put Greg Olsen 3. The guy, every year, the guy produces at the tight end position. He's a great tight end to have. If you can't grab one of those, Gronk or Jimmy. 4, you just said him, Travis Kelce. This is a very thin position in fantasy-wise. So I do like Travis Kelce, but there is a significant drop-off when you from 1, 2, and 3, then below. Significant drop-off. But I do think Travis Kelce is going to continue to grow in that offense, and I do think he's going to be a very good fantasy tight end this year. Number 5 might surprise you a little bit, Joe. I'm going back to your Ryan Tannehill pick as a sleeper, and I'm going to give him Jordan Cameron. I think Jordan Cameron revitalizes his career in Miami. I think he's too talented to not succeed in Miami, especially with the weapons that they have on offense. And Joe Philbin there. I think he's going to succeed there. I really do.
Joe Philbin now has his Jermichael Finley.
Yes.
That type of athletic guy who can go over the middle and get your first downs and move the chain.
And Ryan Tannehill finally has a tight end.
That's right.
I mean, Charles Clay's not a tight end.
No.
Good player.
Very good.
Good player.
Very good. But this is a pure tight end who could do tight end things for you.
Agreed.
Which is move the chains. My sleeper, folks, listen to me. This kid could potentially win you a fantasy championship.
Oh, my God.
I bet you half the people watching this don't even know who he is.
I don't know who he is.
Josh Hill of the New Orleans Saints,
God.
the new number 1 tight end. I'll give you $1 if you tell me where he's from.
Nassau Community College.
Idaho State. Listen to me. This kid is going to produce. He will not be coming off the field. Injuries occur in football. He may go undrafted in your leagues, but if you have the opportunity to pick him up, and it's the right move for your team, pick him up. He'll win your fantasy championship because he's going to get open.
It's funny because I can't really disagree with you because somebody has to replace Jimmy Graham.
That's right.
So
That's right.
As outlandish of a pick as that is, I actually think you might be on.
Well, when I turn out to be right in December, let me know. Remember this show, folks. Let me know.
Email us.
Yeah. What's that email again?
mgandthebod@yahoo.com.
Yeah. Get it done, people.
I love the sleeper, Joe.
Thank you, buddy.
I mean, nobody knows who he is, but I love him.
That's why he's a sleeper.
My sleeper, we're going to go in the AFC East here. Mr. Jace Amaro.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know. Again, sleeper. I'm not claiming fantasy championship victories with tight ends.
Well, that's what you do when you're on a syndicated show like ours. Okay, you reach out on a limb and you hope for the best.
Jace Amaro, coming out of college, was a highly touted tight end, I would say.
Yes.
Got drafted by the Jets. Didn't really have the splash impact that the Jets and the Jets faithful hoped for, but the talent is there. And with Chan Gailey as the offensive coordinator now, I think that Jace Amaro is going to have a coming out party. Mm-hmm. Okay? Again, I don't think he's going to light the world on fire, but I think that he is going to be rostered in a fantasy league.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I think he has too much talent not to succeed.
Well, even though you still have Geno at quarterback, who's not the best quarterback, you have Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker, Devin Smith drafted in the 2nd round. You have to respect Jason Amaro as the tight end. You still have to cover him.
Yeah.
And whoever guards him, it's a mismatch because he's such a big target for Geno. So I do think he's going to get opportunities. Whether or not they become catches, that's what's at question here. Let's move on to defense. You want to start off?
Of course I'll start off, Joe. Because you're going to love my number 1 defense.
Oh, God.
The Buffalo Bills.
Shocking, folks.
Listen.
Shocking. He puts McCoy at 1 or 2, whatever it was.
McCoy was number 2,
Number 2, and now he puts the Bills at 1.
Well, when you're this good as we are.
God. He's putting guys who didn't even make the real playoffs last year on teams.
First of all, they were 9-7. They sniffed the playoffs.
They sniffed it, yeah.
They don't have a quarterback, Joe. They don't have a quarterback.
Okay.
They were the fourth best ranked defense in the league last year. Second fantasy points in our league, at least. Buffalo Bills now have Rex Ryan as their head coach. They are going to be number 1, okay? I don't care what you say. I don't care what you think.
You don't have to. Just continue.
They're good. Buffalo, number 1.
Great. Right.
Number 2 you're going to love because we both love this guy. St. Louis Rams, number 2.
Yeah.
St. Louis Rams. Their defense, to me, I look at that defense, and it is scary. Aaron Donald, Robert Quinn, Janoris Jenkins, Brockers. They're just a scary defense to me. And they have the best head coach on the planet, in my opinion, and Joe's opinion also.
Yeah, we love Jeff Fisher.
Got to put Rams number 2. Number 3, going back to AFC East, Joe.
Okay.
The New York Jets. Okay? One day they sucked on defense, and then I went to bed and I woke up, and they were really good on defense again.
They did a complete 180.
It's unbelievable. They got everybody back. They got Revis. They got Cromartie. They got one of the best defensive lines in football, in my opinion. They're scary again.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
a very scary division.
Absolutely.
I think the New York Jets are going to be a very good defense. And if Geno Smith can get his head out of his ass, I think they could be a competitive football team. And that division is going to be very difficult for everybody in it. Number 4, I did 3, right? Yeah, number 4, another team I know you like, the Houston Texans. Mm-hmm. Okay? Talking about defensive lines, that is the scariest. It's the scariest defensive line in the league. I mean, if Jadeveon Clowney can stay healthy, and we all hope he does because we like to see people succeed and prosper. You know, that's a scary defensive line. They drafted Kevin Johnson. Their secondary to me is solid. They're solid at linebacker. I think fantasy-wise, Houston Texans, they need to be in the top 5.
Fair enough.
Number 5. I'm going to go to Seattle, okay? I'm not ready to drop them out of the tier of elite defenses because I don't think they should be. I think they still are that dominant force on defense. They still are going to get you to turnovers. They play in a weak division. Again, when you're drafting defenses, if you don't know, obviously you're going to look at what division they're in.
Absolutely.
Okay? You're going to see who they play twice and this and that. I got to put Seattle number 5. Those are my top 5 defenses.
I'm going to give you my top 5. To what Matt said, this team did a complete 180. If I'm a fan of this team, I am beyond excited. I'm putting the Jets at 1.
1?
Yeah, they are the number 1 ranked defense for fantasy this upcoming year. What's great about it is that they got Revis and Cromartie and Strine as the slot cornerback, and they only need to get pressure with their front 4, which they're very capable of doing. Which means you drop more guys back. Turnovers occur, sacks occur. You could do a lot of different things when we only have to rush 4 or 5 guys.
Foles is going to have.
Oh my God, he's going to have a ball.
He's going to have a ball with that defense.
It's going to be so special and so much fun to watch. You know, you got Mo Willie, Sheldon Richardson. This is going to be an exciting, hard-nosed defensive football team. That's why they're 1. Because with Revis, he takes away half of the field, and Cromartie's still very reliable, I think. 2, I agree with Matt. The Rams. We love Fisher. I mean, look who they had the rookie of the year, Aaron Donald, on the defensive side of the ball. Then they signed Nick Fairley, Chris Long, Michael Brockers, James Laurinaitis. Look at what this team is putting together.
Scary defense.
There is the 11 guys on that defense could start anywhere in the league, and they have depth. I love what the Rams are doing. I love the division that they're in because there's no crazy offenses in that division.
Exactly.
It's so much fun to watch what Jeff Fisher does. I'm adamant about how good of a coach he is. 3, I'm going to go with Seattle. You have to pay them the respect that they're due. They still got Sherman and Chancellor, Bobby Wagner, Bruce Irvin. I like them.
They're still scary.
Defensive. Not to mention Earl Thomas, who covers. He's sideline to sideline. He's sideline to sideline. He's this generation's Charles Woodson, I think.
He's great.
He's phenomenal. Matt mentioned the Houston Texans. I think their best acquisition was Vince Wilfork. Because when you could take on 2-3 guys in the middle to free up Cushing and the new rookie McKinney, you are going to do something special.
I was surprised that New England didn't pursue him.
I agree. I totally agree with that. So the Texans I like, and J.J. Watt is probably the best defensive player in the NFL.
If you don't say the Buffalo Bills, like somewhere in your top 5.
Coming up next, the Buffalo Bills at number 5, because I don't want Matt to attack me. Now, seriously, this is a good defense. Rex Ryan is going to make a already good defense even better. I mean, Mario Williams, Jerry Hughes, Kyle Williams, Marcel Darius, Ronald Darby is going to be a very good player for you. You got McLovin returning kicks, Stephen Gilmore. The guy who I wanted the Packers to get, Nigel Bradham. I hope I'm saying his name right.
Oh, you don't pronounce anybody's name right?
My pronunciation
you surprisingly did say that name right.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
This is a great defense on paper.
Great.
I hope that they're not on the field so long where they get tired and they let up garbage points. That's my one scare with them. So I have Buffalo at 5.
That's a scare that's could come to true.
Yeah, and that's with a lot of teams. So it could be a great defense.
They could be on the field for 58 minutes.
Yeah, which is terrible.
I know.
Which is terrible. Who's your sleeper?
I guarantee you we have the same sleeper.
You want to say it on 3?
All right, you ready?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Cleveland Browns.
Dude, end the show. Seriously.
Joe, that's why we work, man.
No, I don't want to do that.
That's why we work.
I almost want to change it.
Because our minds are synced.
Oh my God. It's awful. Just go.
What do you want me to do?
I don't want to agree with you.
But you do. Because the Cleveland Browns, with Mike Pettin, who is an understudy of Rex Ryan, you saw last year that defense was making their transition into becoming good.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, man.
Yeah.
No.
Well, Joe, obviously I know two. That's why I picked
Yeah,
them.
I know.
Okay.
This is like your SATs all over again. You're just cheating over people.
I didn't cheat on my SATs.
Okay, whatever.
It was a PSATs.
Okay.
And I
Makes it
glanced
even
at an
better.
answer.
An answer?
Yeah.
It was a whole side, people.
Don't believe him, folks.
Oh my God.
The Cleveland Browns are going to be scary.
Yeah, I agree.
Defensively. I don't know about offensively.
Yeah, no, that's all we're talking about is defensively. This is the same problem that the Bills have.
So very, very, listen to me, very, very similar problem that both teams have with talented defenses that might be on the field too long.
Yeah. I love the Browns. If I wasn't a Packer fan, I'd be a Browns fan. This is one of the original teams in the NFL. Mike Pettin, like Maddie mentioned too, is there. Their draft was phenomenal, I think. They're replenishing potential losses in the future. Like Phil Taylor is a great defensive tackle. He's a free agent. So what do? They go get Danny Shelton and Xavier Cooper.
Beast.
Then they take a roll of the dice in round 7 with this kid, Ifo Olumu Ekpri.
Yo, you're killing
from Oregon.
You're killing it today.
All right, you sounded out, pal.
You're killing it
That
today,
kid's
Joe.
a 7th-round pick because he tore his ACL. You watch him turn into a very good cornerback, not to mention Justin Gilbert, and the always reliable Joe Hayden. They got Carlos Dansby, Pat Kruger, Bukavius Mingo, who was a very high draft pick.
Mingo bingo,
And Nate Orchard from Utah, who we both liked going into the draft. This team is ready to win. They are. If Johnny Manziel pans out to be something,
They just need a viable quarterback.
something.
Like
If
the
he doesn't
Bills.
turn the
Like the
ball,
Bills.
if he doesn't turn the ball over, this defense can be very scary.
They'll keep them in a lot of games.
And they have your old guy, Dante Whitner.
Dante, can I get a
Yeah.
hit now?
Yeah, he's still a great veteran, and he could lead that defense. That concludes our top 5 and some sleepers. Hopefully you stay tuned for our next show, which is June 8th. June 8th is the next show.
Month of June.
Month of June, we're getting into it. Warmer weather, better looking tank top weather, which I love.
Oh my.
I know Maddie's excited
Oh
about
my
that. Maybe
God.
we'll surprise you. Who knows? We'll do an episode from a pool one day. But at the end of the day, we always have to remember one thing. We definitely don't know everything.
However,
We definitely know more than you.
see you next time, folks.